This Monday, May 19th, 2025, meeting of the Mid-State Technical College District Board of Directors and all other meetings of the board and/or its committees is open to the public in compliance with state statutes. Notice of this meeting has been sent to news media and designated persons in an attempt to make the citizens of the Mid-State Technical College District aware of the place, time, and agenda of the meeting. Open forum. The open forum is at the option of the board chairperson, and ground rules have been established to ensure the orderly conduct of business. This is a meeting of the district board open to the public and not a public hearing. Persons who wish to address the district board may make a statement as long as it pertains to a specific agenda item. Individuals should not expect to engage in discussion with the members of the district board. District board chairperson may or may not respond to statements made. Do we have anybody here to make a statement?
We do not.
Okay. Moving on, looking at the meeting minutes from our last meeting of April 21st, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve the minutes from April 21st, 2025.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Voice vote. Thanks for the little. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have the consent agenda. We have the payment of bills and payroll. We have the district bills, payroll, travel, miscellaneous, fringe benefits, contracted service agreements, and procurement for goods and services. I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, Angie?
Ron Rasmussen.
Yes.
Chuck Spargo.
Yes.
Ari Vane.
Yes.
Terry Whitmore.
Yes.
Sean Becker.
Yes.
Betty Grisky Malik.
Yes.
Jim Johnson.
Yes.
Rick Burton.
Yes. Chairperson's report. Thank you all for joining us. Ryan asked to be excused. He's doing good, needed YMCA business this evening. We have an upcoming Spring District Boards Association meeting. Oh, wait, no. Would anyone like to comment on the recent board meetings or DBA activity? Has there been some action?
There has been.
Okay.
We had a meeting last Friday and we almost didn't have a quorum. So it started late when we finally got our 9th college online and didn't finish, quit because we lost people.
Oh,
So we're having another meeting on this Friday, hopefully to approve the executive director salary and a vote to see if she just moves, if she continues as the executive director without advertising for the position. So that's contested, and I got some good advice from Chuck. One of the recommendations would be to have her start at a lower salary because she's going to be having an additional person in the office. And Chuck thought, you could speak for yourself, but his recommendation.
wait, Chuck, you could speak for yourself?
No, I can't. My tongue is tied.
He suggested maybe go with a lower recommendation for the salary and keep her as the executive director without going out to advertise if she'll take the lower salary. So I didn't think of that one.
I don't like the way we got to where we are, but I hate to upset the apple cart now.
No.
And the incoming president believes that the wage ought to be lowered. I'm not going to argue with that. So let's make a compromise, keep her on, because there's enough difficulties going on in state and federal
Yeah.
legislation to not want to have another apple in the air. But with the understanding that the wage is lowered based on getting more help.
So it'd be about a $17,000 cut
Okay.
from what she's getting right now. So we'll see. And the other issue is the colleges that may be pulling out of DBA. The vote for, I know, Northeast is in June, and I'm not sure about anybody else right now. So, but it's on the table.
We have it on our agenda tomorrow as well at our president's meeting to discuss.
That's all I know. Thank you. Any questions?
So Northeast is still planning to pull out, even though there's been significant changes within the organization.
That's still on the table, yes. They're aware of the changes, but. And their spokesperson for DBA did not get renewed for her position, so it'll have to be somebody completely new that's never reported to DBA. So
Did the bylaws get modified in time for the board to consider them?
I don't know.
They didn't bring them up then?
No,
Okay.
no.
There was a visit, Rick, where the executive director went to meet with the NWTC board.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding is that the NWTC board did not have confidence, which is only push them to have it on the president's agenda tomorrow and so forth. So,
Blackhawk was downright rude when the executive director and another trustee went out to see them. And that's mostly the president, so we're still in a flux.
Well, thank you for the update. ACCT, Association for Community College Trustees Leadership Congress is coming up October 22nd to 25th in New Orleans. Focuses reimagining community college innovation for a changing world. Boy, a lot of changes. It'll be very interesting. The keynotes and discussion taking place there. If you're interested in attending, please contact Angie. Springboard Advance was held earlier today. Would anyone like to provide comments on the day? I'll say that there was a report on the feedback on the Higher Learning Commission on our accreditation visit, and it's very, very good report. All 19 elements of the assessment were satisfied, and so a very, very good report. So
Are you
there's a lot
stealing
of-
somebody's thunder?
he can take it. I'm so proud of the team. So I'm glad that you're bringing it up, Rick.
Yeah.
It was spectacular.
So that's a great positive on the not so positive side. We also were informed of the potential ramifications of cuts to educational funding for a number of different grant areas. So a lot of our student support may be affected. So the executive leadership team is closely monitoring all those developments. So we'll see where that goes, but potential big effects to the college. Anything else?
I would say the strategic skit
yes.
was really well done and informative. It hit home on what Dylan educates Ida about college. which is-
Wonderful.
Yeah. So yeah, really well done, and it was very entertaining. Thank you.
So now let's see if
Went through the whole wheel and.
Yeah.
and-
yeah, well, no
address
cheating now,
that
no cheating. Let's see if we can get the acronym. So D was district, right?
Yep.
Dylan educates. E was
Education.
integrity, education,
Educational quality.
quality,
Yeah.
educational quality educates. Ida was innovate.
Identity.
Identity. Got to work on this. Ida about college about was accessibility,
There you go.
Yeah.
and college was collaboration.
Community.
No,
Community.
community engagement. Community engagement. All right, we're gonna work on it. We got the Dylan part.
Good.
All right,
And the Ida.
and the Ida part. Yes.
Proud.
Our next meeting will be held Monday, June 16th. It'll be here at the Wisconsin Rapids campus. Committee meetings will begin at 4:15 unless otherwise announced. And the committee as a whole will begin at 5 p.m. That's it for my report. Shelley? Oh, wait, foundation report. Gosh darn
Nikki
it.
gets to go next.
Yes, Nikki. Come on up. You're the next contestant.
So here's Nikki, and her first time as being the foundation director. The foundation board named her
Oh!
April 23rd.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, besides the staffing changes in the foundation office, we've been very busy, or I should say I, because I'm alone right now. But I'm really happy to report that the foundation board unanimously agreed to help support the shuttle with a $50,000 donation. We also discussed and they approved our budget for 2026, and we updated some of our scholarship offerings so that they would be more accessible to students. And we also reallocated some dollars to provide an additional $5,000 to our food pantry, and also create a pot of money of $5,000 to help our students cover certification exam fees. We're seeing that some students are completing their certification, but then coming to us for emergency grants in order to cover that cost. So we wanted to have a pot of money available to be able to help those students, because obviously they're not really finished until they take those exams. So we knew that was a need. And the board also agreed to create some new scholarship offerings. We created 15 awards of $500 for certification programs to help students that are in programs that are not financial aid eligible. So those would include fire certification, EMT basic, nursing assistant, dental assistant, phlebotomy, those types of courses. So it was one of those things that we knew was really important, because we do have those students looking for that funding and they weren't able to get financial aid. So I'm working on scholarship awarding for our fall semester right now. And we've also awarded the high school awards, and the foundation board has been helping do those scholarship nights at the high schools. So we've made appearances at Marshfield, Auburndale, and Assumption. And then on Wednesday, we'll be going to Lincoln, Port Edwards, and Amherst high schools to hand out those awards. And then as for our foundation events, we have our 37th annual. We're doing the Midwest Nice golf outing on June 10th. I know that we're going to see Chuck there, but I hope that you'll be able to stop by and enjoy some of the day with us. It's going to be really great. We have 11 sponsors. We have 18 teams so far. We have room for 25. And we have added a long drive pro on 18. And that's going to give people an opportunity to win a golf trip for 4 to Pebble Beach. So that's kind of an exciting thing. And it's another way for us to raise funds. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. Our 10th annual trap shoot is coming up on Friday, September 19th at the Wisconsin Trap Association. And that's in Rome, if you've never been there. It's a huge facility. And that's going to be really my major focus once we get through the golf outing. So far, we've already got 4 sponsors on the event, which is great. We've got 5 teams already registered for that. So I'm feeling good about that event as well. And then a couple of events that we've just completed. On April 23rd, we hosted the Stevens Point Downtown Campus 10-year celebration, where we honored 10 alumni with awards for their achievements. And we had some really, really great alumni with incredible stories. So that was a really, really fun event to do. We also hosted the WTCS Foundation's all-staff spring meeting at the Stevens Point Downtown Campus and at the Ameta Center. And we had some really great sessions from some of our amazing mid-state staff. So it was a really good event, and we got some really good comments from the other colleges. And I think that's all I have for you. Do you have any questions for me?
What was the date of the trap meet?
The trap shoot is September 19th. And that's on a Friday.
Any other questions?
Well, I'm just wondering if Chuck is practicing for
Yes.
the longest trial. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't have a chance unless they give really old people a head start. Advanced tees for seniors.
Little handicap.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Nikki.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Shelley.
Yeah, so just a few things under campus activities. Exactly what Rick had said. We did have our HLC visit on April 28th and 29th, and there are 19 criteria that we are judged against, and I'm happy to say that we met all what was needed in all 19 of those categories, and that just really shows the efforts that our mid-state staff and team do. It's been a lot of work in preparation. I very much talked about we We planned, we prepared, and I would say we conquered. So it's a really, really good feeling. In fact, I think when I was looking at my email, the team, I think I saw the official, we had got the draft and now the official one came as well. So that's really exciting. What that means is it'll go before their board, and it looks like we would get a 10-year accreditation status again with no monitoring. So we're very, very excited. We will definitely be celebrating with our criterion leaders that helped us in preparation of that big assurance argument. And fall in service, we will be having a heck of a celebration just to really thank all of our employees because they showed up and they told their story. And we had 3 of the board members that did represent all of you very well. Rick and Chuck and Ryan came to represent the board, and they also did an outstanding job. So just a thank you and really a congratulations to the full Midstate team. We're excited. From a foundation director meeting that Nikki had mentioned, I was really fortunate to be able to go to the Ameta Center and be able to do kind of an official welcome. And then they had asked me to talk about the capital campaign for Ameta. So I was able to participate in that and really enjoyed spending some time with that group. Nikki, you've got a good group there, that's for sure. Also, we did have our special finance committee budget meeting last week, and just a thank you to Ryan and to Ron and Chuck, who were able to attend over, I think we met for about 90 minutes, had some really good conversation about the budget. I know that the finance committee will be bringing that forward to you. From an anthology standpoint, really happy to say that Karen and HR, we were able to go live with that product on May 5th. So again, another check mark, and payroll will be going live on the 30th of this month. So we're really excited. When you think of the modules, again, we had the finance module go live, then it's the HR module, and then the last one will be the student module, which of course is the greatest one. So again, we're making progress. Also received information from a global ed standpoint that our 17 students and 3 leads have arrived in Japan for their 10 days. And also our German exchange, we had 6 students and 1 advisor going, has also arrived in Germany. So again, 17 students and another 6. So really excited for that global education. So just thank you for your ongoing support. I think when you think about 17 students that went to Japan, that really just shows that our students are wanting those type of opportunities. From a community involvement, everyone, just a few things. SWIMA, which is the Central Wisconsin Manufacturing Alliance, they had an expo and dinner on April 27th, and Midstate was there, not only having a booth, but also there for their guest speaker. I was out on May 12th and had a great tour and meeting at Pittsville, talking with their superintendent and their principal regarding some options and maybe some partnerships that we're going to explore. I also, the next day, was out in Marshfield and had a meeting with their fire chief from Marshfield Fire and Rescue, just talking again about what their needs and opportunities are. And then later that week, I was at Marshfield Clinic and had a meeting with their CEO and the president of Marshfield Medical Center, again, just talking about as part of the CEO network for Marshfield on what can we do to just ensure that they have the workforce that they need, since that is their largest employer on that side. And then last Friday, I was part of a Midwest President's Roundtable where we're just talking about all these lovely changes that are potential. From a WTCS updates and President Association activities, I will be traveling. First thing in the morning, I will be in Madison. We do have the WTCS State Board meeting tomorrow morning, and then we do have a full President's meeting that will follow that. And then we also have the Wisconsin Student Government meeting here. We were able to host it at our Stevens Point downtown campus, and I was able to do an official welcome to that, which is very close to my heart because when I was a student in the technical college system, and I had told them about this back in 1988 and 89, that definitely dates me. I was the student body president at that time, and I can remember sitting at the table with the president, of course, of that technical college. So when you think about those, 20 years, we'll just say 20 years, that have gone by, and now to think that I'm currently at the president's table, meeting with our student leaders, it's really kind of a full circle moment. So I really enjoy spending some time with that group. That would end my report unless you have any questions for me.
All right, thank you. Moving on to committee reports, finance and infrastructure. Chuck?
Okay, we've already addressed the consent agenda items for the evening. We addressed them in our meeting and there were no questions that were unanswered. On page 30 of your budget or your board book, we got budget notifications made in the month of April. A total of $142,200 of revenue and budgeted expense changes were noted. 64,100 in Fund 1 and 78,100 in Fund 3, both related to grants and establishing the budgets for those. Going to the next page, page 31, just shows Fund 1 and Fund 3 being updated for those notifications with 64,100 in expenses and revenue for Fund 1 and $78,100 in expense and revenue change in Fund 3. No bottom line impact or changes to any other fund account. Page 32 shows the current actuals for the 10 months ending April of 2025. The first column shows Fund 1. We've received almost 91% of our revenue, but we've only expended 75% of the budgeted expenditures, so we're ahead of the game there. We received, in terms of all funds, $1.3 million in revenue and made expenditures of $4,100,000. So our expenses are outpacing revenues at this point, but that makes sense because we've received nearly 90% of all of our revenues and have expended just under 77% of all of our budgeted expenditures. If you look at year-to-date revenues and expenditures, we've received $54.4 million in revenue, and we spent $54.5 million in expenditures, so very close match there so far. There was one change that accounting made for us in the other sources and uses down near the bottom. Proceeds from debt had a hiccup. It picked numbers from a couple months ago. We've actually received a total of $7.5 million in proceeds from debt. So the column Fund 3 should reflect $1.5 million more than it's showing there. That'll be adjusted again next month. The next page, page 33, shows the balance sheet, our assets. The highlights there is cash and investments. We have a total of $27.3 million, very healthy position. Down $2.3 million from last month because our expenditures are now outpacing revenue. But we're up $1 million from where we were last year, so in very good shape. Any questions on the treasurer's report? Okay. Then we've got the motion, or excuse me, a resolution to publish and have a meeting for the budget. It's in our, thank you, it's in our budget book.
Item C.
Sorry?
Oh, I thought you were looking for the item.
On your place at your table, we've got the revised budget presentation. The numbers haven't changed from the meeting last week, but some of the text has had a few tweaks. And you have now the final version in front of you there. I'm missing my,
The resolution would be on page 34.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm missing the resolution, but I'd make a motion that we approve the resolution on page 34, authorizing publishing and the, was it public hearing for that?
Yes.
I'd second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Do we need a roll call on it? Roll call, please, Angie.
Scott Spargo,
Yes.
Artie Dang,
Yes.
Harry Whitmore,
Yes.
Sean Tucker,
Yes.
Betty Christian.
Yes.
Kim Johnson.
Yes.
Ron Rasmussen.
Yes.
Rick Martin.
Yes.
Okay, then we also have two bid proposals. The first one is number 844 for Wisconsin Rapids Campus Roof Replacement Project. There were two bidders. The lowest bidder was Custoform Roofing Solutions in Boston, $47,036. That's $14,000 under the budget. And I would make a motion that we accept Custoform's bid for the Wisconsin Rapids roof replacement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Is any of this related to any hail damage?
No,
No, so no insurance claim on
normal maintenance that we need to do.
it. Roll call, Angie?
Yes. Ari Lane.
Yes.
Terry Whitmore.
Yes.
Sean Becker.
Yes.
Betty Christian.
Yes.
Kim Johnson.
Yes.
Ron Rasmussen.
Yes.
Chuck Spargo.
Yes.
Rick Martin.
Yes.
Okay, and the next one was bid number 845 for the Marshfield campus roof replacement over the Allied Health wing. There were 4 bidders responding. The lowest bidder was Quality Roofing out of Marshfield, but they indicated they could not complete the job in accordance with the needs of the college by August. So that took them out of the running. And so Custoform Roofing Solutions, the next lowest acceptable bidder was $110,754, which was nearly $37,000 under budget. So I'd make a motion that we award the bid on number 845 to Custoform Roofing Solutions out of Mauston.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Never heard this company before. So
Yeah, me either.
I'm familiar with them.
Are
I
you?
just lived in that area.
Okay. Anything else? Roll call, Angie?
Ron Rasmussen.
Yes.
Chuck Spargo.
Yes.
Ari Lane.
Yes.
Terry Whitmore.
Yes.
Sean Becker.
Yes.
Betty Christian.
Yes.
Kim Johnson.
Yes.
Rick Martin.
Yes.
Okay, we had one informational item with an update on the anthology addendum. As previously mentioned to the board, Anthology and Midstate have been collaboratively working on an amendment to the addendum for Anthology contract. The purpose of this amendment is for Midstate to recover costs associated with the need to continue WILM operations into fiscal year 26, given the delay with the Anthology implementation project. We are pleased to announce that Anthology and Midstate have come to an agreement with the amounts previously conveyed to the board. And Brad also mentioned that in the agreement, there's also a clause indicating that there are further delays. We can have further negotiations for additional consideration. So with that, it's a very positive move forward. That concludes the Finance and Infrastructure Committee report.
Thank you, Chuck. Academic and Student Services Committee, Sean?
Yeah, just a couple things to bring up. The out-of-state tuition remission annual summary. The following 2 items are annual reporting requirements. The first item is the FY25 out-of-state tuition remission annual summary. The college has had the ability to remit out-of-state tuition for needy and worthy students. The Mid-State District Board has delegated this authority to Dr. Maddie Lane. We are required to report this annual to the board. We didn't plan any remitted tuition for this year, and we didn't end up with having any. The second part of this is with the annual summary, we're also required to submit any request to the board for the coming year. So the second item is the request for the coming year of FY26, based on recent history, with not having any needy and worthy out-of-state students. The college is not requesting to remit any out-of-state tuition for the 2025-2026 academic year. The next thing, had a graduation last Saturday. The May 2025 graduation ceremony was held on Saturday, May 17th. Over 300 students were signed up to walk across the stage. And it wasn't the best weather.
No, a lot of them were shivering.
Yes. Joe Fonte, a good friend of mine, owner of the Rafters and Furniture and Appliance Mart, was our community speaker. Did an awesome job with the message of believe in yourself. And it was a good reminder for all of us. I was there along with Rick for the board, and Rick did a nice speech for addressing the students.
And Betty was in the
visitors.
Yeah.
I didn't see you, so I can't say you were there.
It was windy.
It was a little bit.
You were hiding.
Exciting.
It was quite an honor to be there. I really appreciate getting the opportunity to be at the event. You guys did a phenomenal job with it. You really did.
Your color guard was really phenomenal too.
Oh,
Great
thank you.
job.
Yeah, we talked a little bit afterwards. That's the biggest event that they've ever had the opportunity to present at.
Really?
I've done it several times, for graduations here with the law enforcement academy, but not to that level. So, it was, thank you for asking. Overall, 777 students will be receiving 847 credentials for May and summer of 2025. These students range in age from 15 to 69. 10% of them are first generation students. And they're from 8 different states around the U.S., California, Illinois, Maryland, Iowa, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Texas, and of course, Wisconsin. So just an awesome event. Again, you guys crushed it.
What was the first, what was the percentage of first time?
10%?
10%.
And what was impactful for me is starting with the GED students.
Yeah.
The age range, and for whatever reason they didn't get the opportunity to graduate, high school, and this was that opportunity. You can tell that the people that walked, it was very, very impactful.
I'm
And the
so
number
proud
of,
of this executive team. That was something that we did not do in the past. And this executive team really thought it was important to do. And I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, and just the number of tiers of the recipients coming across, especially those that, are later in the life and, making a change. And
Wow.
It's really
Yeah.
very nice. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. On to Human Resources and External Relations Committee. We did not have any consent agenda items. We had 2 informational items. One was the new Committee for Organizational Health. That was formerly the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force. It's now a regular committee. We were shared with the members of that committee and some of the activities that have gone on. We know some of them. The Temple Grandin event, which was wonderful. Chuck Price's trainings on adverse childhood experiences, trauma-informed care, suicide awareness training, with a 2025 focus on universal design. That means a situation that is acceptable and conducive to learning for everybody, a new webpage design, and potentially ongoing trauma-informed care work. We also heard on the workforce development, some of the areas that they've been focusing on, skill development and automation and advanced manufacturing, seeing a lot of interest in the agricultural sector, specifically or potentially for those who may be anticipating less than normal immigrant labor. Also leadership and workforce resilience, digital literacy and technology integration, learning about AI. And Craig mentioned the key factors driving growth in this area: active participation in industry and chamber groups. They have a staff member on the 3 main chamber boards. In-house leadership development facilitator, Ted, is doing a great job. And Mid-State's reputation for customizing solutions. So really good work coming out of the Workforce Development Group. Thanks, Craig. That's it for my report. Now we have some information on graduate placement results. Mandy.
Wow, I need two of these.
Stereo. Yeah.
You have a printout at your seats. And as part of our 24-25 college goals, this year we set out to improve our graduate placement rates. Over the past few years, we've been seeing a decline in the percentage of graduates who are employed. You know, the first year is kind of like, oh, it's a blip. Could be a blip, right? Second year, looking into it further, but we're still above the WTCS average or right around the average. Third year, we dropped below the WTCS average, and that really prompted us to dig deeper and analyze what was happening. So this past year, we created this college goal, and we created a task force, which consisted of Sheila Cover, who you have met, Chris Ann Sandin, who's our director of the SSIC and oversees our college experience specialists, Stephanie Bender, Dean of Student Success, Natasha Miller, who is our Student Life Coordinator, Joe Pomerning, who's our Career Services, Chris, Shelley, and myself. And what we discovered as we dug into this was that several changes were made in recent years, really aimed at increasing our response rate. But it had the unintended consequence of affecting how placement outcomes were reported. And so while we were reaching more graduates, the way that we were collecting that information and interpreting their responses was not consistent. And it impacted this graduation rate. So we piloted some improvements this year. They included some targeted staff training, a more consistent approach to administering the follow-up survey and interpreting the results, and enhanced follow-up efforts. So we would follow up with them more often to ensure that we had that better data accuracy and continued to work with our graduates after they left. So I'm really pleased to share that these efforts have worked. And we achieved our dashboard goals for the year, and in addition to achieving our goals, we also achieved a 74% response rate, which was #1 in the WTCS for response rate. Yeah. And so that alone is really good, that response rate. But then even better than that, in the WTCS, 86% of those who responded reported being employed in a field related to their program of study, and that we are #2 in the WTCS. So that's really a strong indicator that our graduates are finding meaningful work that just aligns with what their education was. And so if you look at this document there, it'll give you the information about not just our goals, but additional information from the survey as well. The goals that in our dashboard, the results are highlighted there in yellow. Percent employed, our goal was 88%, we received 93. The WTCS average was 92, so we're pleased to be back up there ahead of the WTCS average. And our employed and related field, 79% was our goal. We achieved 86% there, and which is 78 The WTCS average was only 78%. And I think another key one to point out is, we don't have it as a goal, but it is a point that we talk to when advocating about Midstate and the WTCS, the percent employed in the district. And 82% of our graduates are employed within our district.
It helps to be in the middle of the state, right?
It does. It absolutely does.
They aren't.
Yeah.
I agree.
And so I think these results really reflect our commitment to student success. They reflect our database decision making, and they reflect our program viability and our program relevance.
So how does, if I graduated with a university transfer graduate,
Yep.
I'm not expected to be employed, right?
No.
How do
Correct.
you,
Yeah.
how do you, so this is just for those that are anticipating employment, or how do you,
We follow up with all of them. And I think that is part of what we were recognizing with our data is that many of our students are already employed, right? They work. And but so for those who are transferring, they're not in the they're not looking for employment.
right.
So it doesn't count against us.
Okay. Okay.
Because they're not looking for employment. If they were looking for employment and they decided to go to school because they couldn't find, that's different. But
I think the other element that you found, Mandy, correct me, but we were also, because we were so wanting to get to every graduate, so we might say to a person at graduation, as we're kind of getting the data, do you have your job yet? And they're like, no. Well, we would mark it as a no and never contact them again, rather than waiting for that 6 months. So someone who tells us, yes, we can mark right away, but if they say no, not yet, it's just because they're in the process of interviewing or whatever. That was actually a negative. I think that was the one big aha that I had. And I'm just so proud of the team, because if you recall, it's a college goal, but when we looked at the college dashboard, we had noticed how this number had dropped, and we said, we're going to dig into this, and we put this task force together, and the process now is so much better than what it was. So data really does drive you to be able to look at exactly what Mandy said. The first time it dropped, just dropped a little bit. Second time, okay, now it's the third time, we got to look at this. And so good thing that we did.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is data that just WTCS collects and reports for us, but it's also useful when we talk to legislators to tell them how many of our graduates statewide stay in the state.
yes.
Right.
I didn't see that on this, but so I don't know if that's just what WTCS provides for us, or if we also look at that.
So we do look at it. It is even larger than obviously the 82%.
Right.
But I can get that number to you too, because we do calculate it as part of this.
And WTCS evaluates or gets their metrics the same way that we are now doing it, right? Like they're asking 6 months after, they're not
Yes.
asking immediately after we were.
Do they ask independently, or do they just take our data, or college data?
They take our data.
Okay.
Yeah, so we report
We load it up.
our data through, and it just as every college does. But we're asking the same questions, and it's always a 6-month follow-up survey.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? With that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Is there a second? Motion second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, everybody.